In 1992, a farmer in China's Zhejiang province pumped the water out of what he believed was an ordinary pond. Beneath it, he found a cave. His neighbors drained their ponds. They found 23 more. By the time the first survey was complete, researchers had identified 24 carved chambers cut directly into solid siltstone bedrock, some of them the size of aircraft hangars. The oldest dated material inside them was over 2,000 years old. No tool was left behind. No inscription, no symbol. Not a single document in 2,000 years of Chinese imperial record acknowledges that these caves exist. The standard mystery in ancient architecture is engineering. We know a civilization built something enormous, and we can't work out how. But in most cases, the Inca at Sacsayhuaman, the Maya at Caracol, the builders at Baalbek, we at least know what the structure was for. Temple, fortress, astronomical observatory. The engineering is the question. The function is documented. What we're looking at today is a different category of problem entirely. 5 structures from 5 different parts of the world, where the engineering is broadly understood, but the purpose is genuinely unknown, not debated between competing theories, not pending a new excavation season. The field has been working on these sites for decades, in some cases over a century, and has arrived at no consensus on why they were built. The last site on this list was constructed by a society that, according to every accepted model of monument construction, should not have been capable of building it. 30 million hours of coordinated labor, from a population with no agriculture, no writing, and no permanent settlements. We'll tell you what the field currently thinks, and exactly where that thinking runs out. Stay with us. The Longyu Caves are located in Zhejiang province, in eastern China, near the town of Xi'an-Beikun. They were discovered in 1992 by a local farmer, Wu Anai, who drained what was believed to be a standard pond. The chamber beneath it was 5 meters high and covered approximately 2,000 square meters of floor space, roughly 3 basketball courts. His neighbors drained their ponds. 23 more chambers were found beneath them. The stone is consolidated siltstone and sandstone. Working it at scale requires iron tools. The total volume of material removed across all 24 chambers is estimated at 1 million cubic meters, roughly 40 times the volume of the internal chambers of the Great Pyramid. Every surface in every cave, walls, ceilings, pillars, floors, has been finished with the same pattern of parallel chisel marks, lines running at approximately 30 degrees to the horizontal. The consistency across the entire complex is close to absolute. Radiocarbon dating of organic material found within the caves suggests the oldest layers are approximately 2,000 years old, placing construction in the Qin or early Han dynasty. Geologist Liu Hongde, who led the first systematic technical survey, noted in a 2011 report that the relationship between the dated organic material and the construction date itself is not established. The material could be contemporary, or it could be intrusive. No tool has ever been recovered from the caves. No construction debris, and in the complete surviving record of Chinese imperial documentation across the relevant period, one of the most comprehensive administrative records in the ancient world, there is no mention of their construction, their purpose, or their existence. On the Xingqiang Plateau in central Laos, at elevations between 1,000 and 1,200 meters, there are more than 2,500 large stone jars distributed across at least 90 separate sites. The smallest are 50 centimeters tall. The largest reach 3 meters and weigh up to 14 tons, heavier than a loaded cement mixer. They were carved from sandstone, granite, limestone, and conglomerate, sourced from quarries up to 8 kilometers away across mountainous terrain. Dating places the jars between 1,000 and 2,500 years old. They have lids, though very few lids survive in position. Human remains have been found at some sites, cremated bone, teeth, burial goods. This is the basis for the dominant hypothesis, that the jars functioned in a mortuary context, either as primary burial containers, as vessels for cremated remains, or as fermentation vessels for funerary alcohol preparation. The problem with this hypothesis is coverage. Dr. Thonglith Luangkoth, the lead archaeologist on the site in the Lao government survey program, noted in a 2019 field report that the burial evidence is not consistent across the complex. Some sites have human remains in or near the jars. The majority do not. A mortuary hypothesis that applies to a fraction of the 90 sites is a partial explanation at best. What moved 14-ton stone jars across 8 kilometers of mountain terrain, why they were distributed across 90 separate plateau sites rather than concentrated in one ceremonial location, and what the sites without human remains were actually for, none of these questions has a published answer that the field has accepted. Stay with us. The next 2 sites push this further. In the Golan Heights, at an elevation of approximately 900 meters on a basalt plateau, there is a megalithic structure that most people outside the region have never heard of. Rujim el-hiri, in Arabic roughly the stone heap of the wild cat, in Hebrew, Gilgal Rephaim, the wheel of giants. It was constructed sometime between 3000 and 2700 BCE, approximately contemporary with the earliest phases of Stonehenge. The structure consists of 5 concentric stone rings, with an outer diameter of 160 meters, all connected by radial walls radiating from the center. The total mass of basalt used is estimated at between 37,000 and 40,000 tons. At the center is a burial cairn. From the air, the site resolves as a series of almost perfect rings. At ground level, it has no obvious visual coherence. The individual walls are low enough that you can step over them. Formal excavations in the 1980s and 1990s, led by archaeologists Moshe Kochavi and Yonathan Mizrahi of Tel Aviv University, confirmed one consistent astronomical alignment. The entrance passageway of the central cairn aligns with the sunrise on the summer solstice. Subsequent surveys have not confirmed additional alignments. Here is the problem. The burial cairn at the center is real. The solstice alignment is real, but neither explains the outer construction. 40,000 tons of basalt, transported and arranged in 5 concentric rings with radial walls, to house a cairn and frame one annual astronomical event, in a region where no parallel megalithic construction has been documented within 1,000 kilometers in any direction. The engineering effort relative to the established function has no satisfactory account in the archaeological literature. The Karnak alignments on the southern coast of Brittany in northwestern France are the largest megalithic monument complex in the world. Approximately 3,000 standing stones survive. Researchers estimate the original number exceeded 10,000 before centuries of removal for building material. The stones are arranged in parallel rows extending up to 4 kilometers in length, oriented consistently from northwest to southeast. The oldest alignments date to between 4,500 and 3,300 BCE. The stones range from a few centimeters to over 4 meters in height. The rows are not perfectly parallel. They fan slightly, and the spacing changes according to a pattern that researchers have attempted to map mathematically with partial success. The dominant hypothesis since the 19th century has been astronomical, a large-scale instrument for tracking celestial cycles, possibly lunar. Alexander Thom, a Scottish engineer who conducted systematic surveys of British and Breton megalithic sites through the 1970s, proposed that the alignments encoded a sophisticated lunar calendar. His analysis identified what he argued were deliberate geometric patterns consistent with lunar cycle tracking. His methodology has been both supported and challenged. The debate in the academic literature is genuine and unresolved. What has not been explained is the operational logic. How a static arrangement of 3,000 standing stones in open rows would function as an astronomical instrument, and what observations specifically it was designed to produce, has never been demonstrated to the field's satisfaction. The alignment hypothesis is the best available answer. It is not a complete one. Poverty Point is a site in northeastern Louisiana in the lower Mississippi Valley. It dates to approximately 1700 to 1100 BCE. It consists of 6 concentric C-shaped earthen ridges, with an outer diameter of approximately 1.9 kilometers, and several mounds, the largest rising 23 meters, roughly the height of a 7-story building. The total volume of earth moved in its construction is estimated at more than 750,000 cubic meters. The society that built it was, by all available physical evidence, a hunter-gatherer society, non-agricultural, partially or seasonally mobile. There is evidence of long-distance trade reaching into the site, stone tools made from material originating in the Appalachian Mountains, copper from the Great Lakes region, galena from Missouri. Poverty Point was a node in an exchange network spanning over 1,000 kilometers, operated by a population that did not farm. Researcher John Gibson, who led excavations at the site across 3 decades, estimated in a 2000 paper in Southeastern Archaeology that the construction required approximately 30 million labor hours. This is the number the field has never resolved. 30 million hours of coordinated construction effort, organized by a society without writing, without agricultural surplus to feed a construction workforce, and without the centralized authority structure that every standard model of large-scale monument construction assumes as a prerequisite. Poverty Point is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its function is listed in the official designation as unknown. What connects these 5 sites is a specific gap in the archaeological toolkit. We have excellent methods for establishing when something was built and, in most cases, how. What we have no reliable method for is purpose, because purpose leaves no physical trace unless it is also functional in a recoverable way. A tomb has remains. An observatory has alignments. A fortification has walls oriented toward threats. What these 5 sites have is scale, precision, and almost no functional residue that points unambiguously toward a use. In each case, the leading hypothesis either doesn't cover the full site, doesn't scale to the engineering effort required, or rests on evidence that isn't consistent across the complex. That is the pattern: enormous coordinated effort, sustained execution over years or decades. And in every case, after a century or more of formal investigation, the question of why remains open in a way that the question of how does not. Which of these 5 do you think we're closest to understanding? Tell us in the comments. If you have a specific theory on the Long U caves, the purpose question there is the one that researchers currently describe as the most completely open. We're curious what you think. If today's topic fascinated you, we've compiled 50 of the most unexplained ancient discoveries into one guide. Every site, every mystery, the competing theories and the sources. Link is in the description. And if this video added something to what you knew, subscribe. We publish a new ancient mystery every week.